The next item is public hearing, item number 16, application for a certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 15-5449, block 617, lot 55, 27th Avenue in the Greenwich Village Historic District, a contemporary institutional building designed by Arthur A. Schiller and Albert Ledner and built in 1962 to 63. This is an application to modify previously approved signage and to install additional signage.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lisa Schaefer, Preservation staff. You probably remember the O'Toole building, which a couple of years ago you approved the renovation and restoration for a new emergency medical facility, and they're finishing the work up right now. And as part of the original proposal, you approved some signage on the building, and they're now coming back with a proposal to change some of that signage as well as introduce some new signage.
Public meeting.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Bill Higgins of Higgins Quaisbarth. We are the landmarks consultants to Long Island, North Shore Long Island Jewish Hospital for the O'Toole building project. Let's see what they are. Okay, this proposal is I think very simple and straightforward in design and in concept. As you remember, the building was originally built as the headquarters for the Maritime Union. Within just a few years, the Maritime Union had its difficulties, and the building passed into a healthcare use. So the building has really had a healthcare use that has kept it as a living building for almost all of its time. The building, as you also remember, was approved under hardship, not under appropriateness, for demolition. And happily, that is not the way this story has turned out. It is, in fact, being, again, adaptively reused as a healthcare facility. The building is located, of course, on 7th Avenue between West 12th and West 13th Streets. The proposal does not change any of the architectural elements that were previously approved and are now being built. It has entirely to do with signage and identifying the entries to the building. And secondly, with recognizing donors who have contributed to the major cost of rehabilitating the building. There are some technical and frankly public health aspects that are really driving the idea of the signage, and principally the fact that it needs to be illuminated at night. The entrances, and particularly the emergency entrances to the building, are frankly required to be visible 24 hours a day. Obviously, the healthcare function of the building is a 24-hour one. So the proposal, I'm going to go over in some detail, involves signage here on the West 12th Street ambulance entrance. It involves new two-line signage on the building itself, identifying the use of the building and secondarily the donors. It involves illumination of previously approved corner signage at both corners of the building. It involves adding signage to the approved new canopy over the 7th Avenue entrance. And this is a view down 7th Avenue from 13th Street. There again is that entrance canopy signage. Now proposed to be illuminated previously approved corner signage, the two-line signage on the building, and then this entry on 13th Street is the entry not to the emergency use but to the hospital clinical practice non-emergency functions, which will be occupying the rest of the building. This previous signage on the previously approved canopy and a proposed new blade signage, and we'll show you why that is proposed for that location to mark that entry. Very quickly, historically, this is all within the vocabulary both of the original union use Here is the building in its original union function, where there was signage, lettering on the building identifying the building's function. There was signage on the corner of the building. And there is the 7th Avenue entry, again, when it was the union, showing that it was two-line signage, the name of the building and the name of Mr. Curran, the major, let's call him patron of the union. So this two-line signage on the building is historic. Also, the address of the building was marked. Here it is in its original, or in its first incarnation as a healthcare facility. Again, two-line signage on the building, substantial signage on the corners, and also some signage marking the function on the building itself. So I will go through what was previously approved, sort of location by location, and what we are now proposing. So here is the 7th Avenue entry, previously approved, as I said, this sort of two-plane, simple, modern canopy with flanking signage on either side. Previously approved. What we are now proposing eliminates the signage here, keeps the design of the canopy the same, and places signage on the top plane with the name of the building, on the lower plane internally lighted signage with marking the emergency entrance, and then also hard to see here, the address of the building on 7th Avenue. Here's a little bit more detail, name of building and donors in 6-inch high non-illuminated letters, non-illuminated pin letters, and then the emergency entrance in 9-inch high internally illuminated letters, and there are the 9-inch high numerals for the address.
Illuminated or not?
The address is not illuminated. What's illuminated is the entry, the emergency entry. Here, previously approved corner signage, and the proposal now, it reduces the height of the signage by 10 inches down to 8 feet from 8 feet 10. It somewhat expands the width from 9.7 to 10.4, and it internally illuminates the sign.
The whole sign?
Yes, the whole sign, including the emergency part and the identifying.
For whom is that sign intended?
That sign is intended for pedestrians who are going to be approaching. Traffic goes down 7th Avenue, so that would be mainly a pedestrian sign.
And then, wait, back.
Yes.
And then also there's a new sign.
Oh, sorry. This one?
Yeah.
Yes. This again is that signage we're proposing for the building, 2 lines with non-illuminated letters applied to the concrete surface of the panels with the name of the building and the names of the donors.
And those are 9 inches at the top and where you, that's the next.
There's more detail. So the name of the building is 13.5 inches high, and the donors are 9 inches high.
Bill, there was previously signage on the building. Do you know what the size of that was?
I don't know the size, no, but it was within the realm of this 13.5 inch. It had, it'll only take a second to go back to it. Yeah, there it is.
They're pretty big.
So,
Yeah, there.
pretty sizable, and then a little bit smaller for the donor signage. That's the same kind of approach.
Could you go back to the name of the building and the donor sign? It's shown in red. What's the actual color proposed? That one? Or it's showed in for very
No,
dark
it's
against the building?
satin black stainless steel lettering. The only thing that's red, proposed for red is the emergency.
Okay.
So if I could just, it's on page 11 and 12, it's those wall signs with the name of the building and the donors, are the
Yes.
same one?
They are the same one, yeah. 12 is just the one that gives you more detail and dimensions.
12 to get you up closer?
Yes.
Just doesn't look like
And
it's
it's-
position.
It's black in both cases.
Oh, the reason, okay, no, good catch. The reason is that this is 13th Street. This is the 13th Street corner looking down 7th Avenue, so there's proposed to be signage on the 13th Street side, and then this one is the 12th Street side. That's why they're on two
So
different
it's a whole additional wall sign and a whole additional street sign?
Correct. Yeah, we're proposing the same condition on the 12th Street corner and on the 13th Street corner.
Why do you consider it necessary to have the name on the wall and then again on that same approach on the marquee, on the edge of the marquee? Why is that
On
necessary?
the edge of the marquee.
Yeah,
Well, I think the marquee is really meant to be that's the place where the main pedestrian entry to the entire building happens. The 7th Avenue.
in case you missed it on
In
the wall.
Exactly. You might, you're on your way to the hospital, you're thinking of other things.
It's a vision emergency.
See it, really.
Okay.
But I'm curious, so I thought that the one that's over the marquee is stainless steel. It's not, it's black?
The one that's over the marquee is, whoops.
Right there.
Stainless steel pin.
Yes. It's,
So-
that is lighter. That is proposed to be lighter stainless steel, and the signage on the building is proposed to
Black.
be dark.
Against
Yes.
white building.
Okay.
And I just only have a question about the sign panel. It sort of looks like a business card. It's not a very elegant sign, and it looks like you've got graphic designers working on the other stuff. What's going on with this?
Well, I can't speak for the hospital. The hospital or the architects may want to say a little bit more, but the fact is that this is part of Lenox Hill, which involves a series of hospitals and facilities, and this is really their logo.
But, so you're making a permanent sign that says coming soon?
Yeah.
No. Also a good catch. These panels are removable. We don't expect this one to be removed, and we don't expect the emergency one to be removed, but the construction is occurring, and the hospital or the facility is opening in phases. And so when all of these facilities open, the coming soon will turn into just marking that they're here. Okay, so this is the previously approved version of the signage at the ambulance entrance on 12th Street. And what we are proposing is signage that, again, has an illuminated ambulance entry indication, and also it has the address. Sometimes people are going to be navigating to the ambulance by address and not just by the name of the facility. So this compares previously approved sign, not lit, 9 feet 10 inches high, and we're proposing to drop the height by 10 inches to 9 feet, and to have the illuminated ambulance entry and non-illuminated address.
Looks like there's a difference as well in the way that is made. Like the picture to the left shows a different kind of system. What is there? What?
Yeah,
help
well,
us understand
the basic thing is that there needs to be a little bit more thickness in order for the internal illumination. Otherwise, it's the same. So this is the 13th Street entry. Again, this is the entry to the non-emergency portion of the facility. And here is the proposal. Again, it is applying the name of the facility and the address, and we also are proposing a non-illuminated blade sign here. And the reason you'll see in a second. So here are Here are the dimensions, again, 6-inch letters marking that this is the office pavilion for the complex, and 9-inch letters for the address. Then this 13 feet 9-inch high projecting sign. This is something that has been done for a really specific reason. When a pedestrian is approaching the building from the west on 13th Street, you really don't see anything but the very edge of the canopy, and so this is a place to mark the entry to the facility here.
And that's illuminated?
That is
Not illuminated.
Not illuminated. So here again, this is the overall proposed from 12th Street and the overall proposed from 13th Street.
Okay. Further questions, anyone? Thank you. Testimony? Okay, Barbara Zay.
Barbara Zay of the Historic Districts Council. We have come a long way from allowing its demolition, and HDC commends the respectful treatment of the O'Toole building with what are largely improvements to the signage program previously approved. However, since extra signage has been added to the building, specifically the pin lettering mounted to the building itself, HDC asks that the corner signs be left out. The curving glass block walls at the base of the building are integral to its design, and the triangular plots formed by these curves should not be cut off by the illuminated corner signs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Community Board 2 recommends approval of all the signage except for the illumination of the corner sign. Corner sign, singular, I guess. I don't know, I guess that means the one on 12th Street. But let me, this is very short, but I'll read the rest of it. Whereas we congratulate the applicant on the sensitive restoration of this iconic structure, and whereas we approve all the requests for signage except for the illumination of the corner sign, because we view it more as a branding effort than a directional guide, and therefore recommend approval, as I just stated. Comment on anything else? Any of the testimony?
I think just briefly, this is really, it's not a branding effort.
No.
This is really about a building that has an institutional use and most particularly a healthcare use. And people are going to be coming to this building in various states of need at various times of day and with various levels of familiarity with Greenwich Village and the building and how to get here. And it's really about people being able to know what this building is and how to get into particularly the portions of it that they need.
Okay. Joan, discussion, thank you.
I can support this. I think that it's very carefully done. The signage on the historic fabric is just pin letters and it's not illuminated. And the illuminated signage that is not on the historic fabric, I believe is necessary. I mean, I'm sure everyone in this room has at one time or another gone to an emergency room with a sick baby or whatever it is, and you're not thinking straight, and you need to be able to find this space quickly and how to get in quickly. So I can support it, and I don't think it's overwhelming, and it's respectful. It's done very carefully, so I think it's fine.
Michael Devonshire.
Well, in my opinion, someone who's coming to this hospital is already aware of its presence. They're not coming here from the moon, they're coming here from the neighborhood. The marquee signage, I think, is perfectly appropriate. I think the signage on the corners is, but I believe that the signage on the building itself is superfluous and does nothing to improve this building.
Libby.
So I don't have a problem with the signage on the building because I think there's precedent for it and it's appropriate. And I understand the need for all the other signs. What I think is a missed opportunity is all the different fonts and styles, and it's a cacophony out here. So if that could be worked on with designers, I think it would be far superior.
Okay, another opinion. I think that the signage that's being applied to the building surface is appropriate, although I would suggest that the applicant look at the original font that was chosen by the original architect and perhaps increase the spacing as well to have it feel a little bit more at home with the building. I think that the canopy signs or the marquee signs are appropriate, although I think the emergency should be a little bit smaller in height. It seems to be crowding, and it looks like it was applied after the fact. It should look more integral to the design and not an after effect. I think that the two signs at the ends, for me, are the most jarring. And I would suggest that the applicant, since they are for pedestrians, explore reusing the typology of sign that they have eliminated to the left and right of the main entrance, which was more integrated with the architecture and would allow them to have the placement, more or less, for the pedestrian, while not having this sign that looks like it was a construction sign being stuck there. And lastly, I think that the vertical blade sign is appropriate on 13th Street, although it should be on the other side of the pier. As it is now, I think it crowds the marquee. I think it could be up against the western edge of the vertical post, or the vertical stair shaft, and it would be okay.
Chris?
Well, it's a medical complex, and I think the signage is necessary and appropriate.
I do a lot of work with hospitals and in particular with signs, so I know what the needs are, and it's very absolutely what Joan said. There are people who come who are very compromised and need to find their way, and just because you know where it is, normally when you're going for coffee, you don't know where anything is when you're have 104 fever or got whatever. So I appreciate the need for the signs and the alert. I think, though, when we're talking about the naming signs, for example, the additional ones, the ones that we're seeing in this image, they don't actually need to be dark on a white background. They could be silver on a white background. So I would say if we're trying to highlight the Lenox Hill complex so that people find it, that it should not be such a dark color but brought down a little bit, but that the signs that are the naming signs should be the same stainless steel as on the canopy, because it is it's a white building, and any kind of color on it really reveals. The other thing is that with respect to the corner signs, again, I completely understand why you need to know where to go for the different kinds of activities. If there's different entrances, you need to know which way to go for that. But that's got to be one of the ugliest signs I've seen in a hospital in a long time. And there are great hospital designers. They work with pylons. They work with all kinds of changeable graphic systems that are quite attractive. And, you know, there's banners. There's all kinds of things that they work with. And this just doesn't live up to the quality of the building or of the graphic industry, real graphic design industry. So they really need to work on that. I agree with Michael's comment about the fonts, that the spacing of the Lenox Hill Hospital really could be spread out to be more in keeping with the character of the building. It's actually another way for the sign to read longer on the block. You would benefit from a bigger spacing because of the reduction in perspective when you see it from a distance.
Okay, based on the fact that it is a hospital and the emergency need and finding it in an emergency, which I, agree with Marjorie about, and the fact that you have lighted windows behind, I don't find a problem with the illuminated signage. I think that the comment about the font is absolutely correct. In the area of fonts, less is always better, in my experience. Maybe, occasionally you could have two, but, really, usually you're better off with a single font. And also that looking at the historic font that was on the building is certainly something that should be done. I think that the comment about the color of the signage on 13th and 12th Street is also relevant, and that, reducing the color contrast doesn't necessarily have to be all the way down to where the canopy is, but definitely I think that would be an excellent move. And I think that the biggest problem, as other people are expressing, is actually the corner signage, and maybe why the board rejected it. It's not that there shouldn't be a corner sign, there should. And I think I agree with all of the signage as far as where it's placed, is appropriate and reasonable, even including the new blight sign. And I think it's fine to have the donors acknowledged and so on. All of those things are working fine. But that one sign just is kind of
Old school.
flashing, glaring, weird. It does call attention to itself, and not more to the signage than, the purpose is to get to the emergency, know that this is what's available and so forth, but it's just jarring is the problem, and maybe it's the colors. So, and the fonts, and someone else said, it does look like a business card. So what we need is a better sign on the corner, and I think the other things I think the staff could
Yes.
really accomplish,
So- What's amazing about this is, first of all, the restoration overall is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And almost as importantly, the quality of healthcare that's going to be delivered here, without question, is going to be amazing, based on the track record of this group. And therefore, it deserves the kind of upgrade, if you will, to make that signage, particularly on the corner, reflect the excellence, and I mean it here, an often overused word, but the excellence of everything else having to do with this complex, this healthplex. So how much do you need now to? Yes, bring it back, but we know the narrow issues that there's an approvable sign plan here. We just need to have the rethinking along the lines that we've stated. It's pretty clear, pretty focused. Take it right back and be able to approve it without undue delay. But it's almost there. But we'll close it for today. Please, motion second without objection. Thank you.
The next item is public hearing, item number 18, application for a certificate of appropriateness